This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am Dave Riccio along with Matt Allen, and this is Bumper to Bumper Radio, heard every Saturday from 11 to noon. We are helping you with your vehicle. We hope you are recovering from that 4th of July barbecue. I know I ate about 5 times yesterday, and I'm feeling it today. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got questions, we've got answers. So we encourage you to give us a call, and give us a call early, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And on these holiday weekends, phone calls can tend to be a little light, so feel free to give us a call. Today on the roadmap, we're going to be talking about an email that has to do with auto repair, taking your texts and phone calls, haboobs, flash floods, and that musty air condition. Is your car ready for monsoon? Matt, you look confused.
I think mine's ready. I don't know. It probably is. I do a pretty good job of being diligent and getting into the shop three times a year. But I don't know, Dave. Is there much we can? You broke it down 3 things: haboobs, flash floods, and the stink. There's not much we can really do to prevent any problems with our car from any of these things that are coming up. I guess we can be prepared, right?
Well, I think of haboobs, and I was in a haboob here a couple years ago that I was actually driving in, and it was rough. We both were driving in that haboob, and the only thing that comes to mind in haboobs is driving habits is something you can certainly affect. What do we do when there's a haboob? And the other thing is just filters. You know, I'm thinking, oh man, is my car inhalating all that stuff? So I just think of filters. That's something you can address and be ready for. And if your car's got regular maintenance, chances are the first thing the auto shop's going to sell you is an air filter. It is something you can change yourself. The other thing is a cabin filter. Those are the things I think of when I think of haboobs. But other than that, what do we need to do for our car?
Well, but I'll tell you what, and I'm not suggesting at all that anybody does it. And I'm not going to go out at the beginning of haboob season, if we want to call it that. I'm not going to go out and get my cabin air filter changed or my engine air filter. Why would I do that? They're going to get dirty. And quite frankly, we were talking before the show, and I think a slightly dirty air filter with a little bit of oil on it from the crankcase ventilation and such, I think that's probably going to do a better job than a brand new air filter of getting some of those trapping some of those particles. So to be prepared for a haboob itself, I'm not going to do anything. For the monsoon, though, we want to make sure there's only 2 or 3 things. We want to make sure the wiper blades are working, and more importantly, or as important, we want to make sure the squirters are working. I don't know how many cars we see where we go fill the windshield washer bottle during a service and it's leaking out the bottom, or the squirters don't, they go off to the side. Or
I remember following one of your technicians when I was leaving your shop, and I'm following them. They have like a little test drive route they go on, and this guy's turning on the wiper blades and the sprayers and all that stuff. I'm like, what the heck is he doing? He's checking to see if the wiper blades are good and if the sprayers work.
It's all those little things. So you can do that stuff you do at home. Go get a sewing needle or a paper clip and make sure those things, you can aim them. Those little squirters are a little ball, and you can point that. Make sure those are good. And if your wiper blades aren't tearing on the edges, I like to take the Brillo sponge and just give them a wipe. They will actually clean. The bugs get baked on there. Heck, when was the last time it rained?
128 days, I think, is what I heard.
Try pulling the horse out of the barn and go run without getting some exercise. I mean, the wiper blades have been parked. They're probably fried to the windshield.
Stuck the window.
So clean those off. And then we want to make sure our headlights and taillights and all of those signals are working, so that if we are out stuck in this haboob, then we know how to act. And you talked about driving habit, Dave.
Driving habits, and we've all seen the story of the I-10 and the pileup and the dust storm. And really the key is, get off the road. Yes, get off the road. That's a good thing to do. So pull over to the right side of the road, put the car in park, and take your foot off the brake. That way, the guy behind you doesn't think he's following you, and slam into you. So that is going to be it as far as the driving. I can't think of what other driving habits. Do you want your headlights on?
Well, when I was thinking driving habits, I'm saying slow your roll a little bit.
Oh, yeah, right.
Slow down, Parnelli. It's
Nitro.
Dusty. Yeah, it's dusty. It's raining. Potentially, just back it down a little bit. It's going to be safer for you. and safer for everybody else. When it rains, Dave, what happens? We get the initial rain, and all that little bit of rain does is just bring and make that oil float on top of the road. That's when it's the most slippery. I don't know if I can't say slipperiest for some reason.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's when the even when you're walking and it hasn't rained, when you're walking on the pavement, you feel how slick that cement is. So you got to slow your roll there as well when it's raining. It does take longer to stop. And so that's the other thing. But the thing I think about is the flash floods, and I think about that guy sitting on his hood in the middle of the wash, waiting for the fire crew to come bail him out because he's that guy that just had to get somewhere, that had to cross that deal. That guy's always on the 5 o'clock news. It never fails.
And I am sympathetic to maybe the older couple. I don't want to stereotype here, but you're sympathetic to some people. But the guy that you don't mind seeing sitting on the top of that thing is the guy in the Hummer who thought he was going to make it across the wash. And he was the guy that was so pissed at everybody else. He's honking at him to get to the front of the line to be the first one across the wash.
Well, we were talking about before the show how much water through a wash is too much, and you have no idea what's in the bottom of the wash. But some of these washes have these little measuring sticks right next to them, and if you drive a four-door sedan, how much water is too much water? I mean, is that 6 inches? Is that 12 inches? It's usually 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know. I think a foot of water, and if it's not coming down, if it's not raging, and as long as the road is underneath it, it hasn't already washed out.
Yeah, you don't know. And then there's the debris that might be coming down. That you get a branch or something floating in that. Depending on how rapid that's coming, that can do some serious damage to the car. So stay out of the washes, I guess, is the point. Don't be the guy in the news.
The other thing that you mentioned is parking in low spots. Some of these parking lots, you're headed for the shady spot, because it's sunny out when you go into the store. When you come back out and there's a flash flood going on, your car might be buried in water. We've seen that happen.
Well, when I had the towing company, we used to cover the central Phoenix area from 44th Street to 19th Avenue, Thomas to Washington or something like that. And there was this I can't remember it, but there's a parking lot office building around the 44th Street or 40th Street in Washington area. And I think it's one of the hotels or something like that. Well, the light rail wasn't there then. But we would always get calls because we had the self-loading truck where you don't have to get out of the truck to hook up the car. When it would flood, there was inevitably this property management company was calling us because there were 6 cars where the water was up past the door plate where you open the door jamb. So that's one thing to pay attention where you park your car, even something to think about.
Well, and then the mustiness that shows up this time of year in your car. Why? I know why, but I'm asking you. Explain to me why it gets musty in your car.
Well, it's humid out, and when we're using the air conditioner, we're drying the air. We're using the air conditioner to remove the moisture from the air and then cool the car. So this would be the one time of year, and this will be the only time you'll probably hear me say, if your car is not leaking, you need to be concerned. This is the time where you want to see water leaking out of your car.
And that leak you're talking about is happening just about underneath the passenger front seat of the car.
Yeah, if you're Barney and you're riding in Fred's car and you put your feet down on the passenger side, if there's no floorboard there, that's about the area you would expect. And what that is, that's the air conditioning condensation drain. Again, same thing at your house. You've got that pipe sticking out of the wall in some places with water dripping out of it. When your car is running the air conditioner, that should be dripping a little bit of water out. And if it's not, that means it's accumulating in the car.
That's
it could be spilling over. That needs to be flooding out, and that's where you get that. And you're going to get that smell even if.
We have all this talk about dew point, when the dew point gets up, and that's the point where dew forms, where the moisture comes out of the air, and we're talking about a dew point of 55. That coil for the air conditioner, the evaporative coil, that thing's 35 degrees. So there's all kinds of water forming on it, and it's coming out. But throughout the monsoon months, that's when the mustiness in your car gets really stinky. And I know you guys got some things you do over at Virginia Auto Service to eliminate that, and we'll get into that later because I hate that smell. I'm embarrassed when people get in my car. I'm like, I hope they don't think that's me.
You stank, man. Is that your armpits or is that your car, Dave?
Well, we've got a couple on the line, but we got some open lines as well at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. We are also taking your text at 411-923. You're listening to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys at Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
The best golf staycation values are at Bunker to Bunker. Our next tournament is at the spectacular JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa and the luxurious Ambiente course at Camelback Golf Club in Scottsdale. Our famous two-person scramble is Saturday, July 26th. It includes lunch, awards, a raffle, and even a free coupon for a second round of golf, all for just $79. And make it a staycation with our incredible $99 per night offer, good July 24th through the 28th. Go to bunkergolf.com for details. Space is limited, so register today.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are here helping you with your car. And that's the other thing that comes up this time of year is car washes. You know, like, do I wash my car, or is that going to make the rain happen?
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, Dave. The car wash.
That's the rain dance in Arizona.
Well, and not only that, but I'm going somewhere else with it. After we have this haboob and our cars are all dirty with dust, now it drives me nuts. I'll just about grab my kids by the throat when I see them in the garage leaning against my wife's car or drawing. You know, it's dirty, so that
wash me.
No, beat me. It's really what they're writing there, because that's going to scratch the paint. So after you have driven through that haboob, or even you haven't even driven in it. I know my Excursion's parked outside, and yesterday morning when I got up, the haboob from Thursday night, the dust storm that we got, it had a coat of dirt on it. You want to go rinse that off. Get that washed off the car.
But you don't want to draw on it?
No, you don't want to draw on it, and you don't want to just mix up your suds and get a little bit of water and start scratching away and swirling and stuff. There's really an art to washing the car, and maybe we need to get Kevin from I-17 Collision in, and he can maybe teach us how to wash the car the right way, because there's certainly a way to do that.
Well, we've got Ray, Mike, and Leonard, and open lines at 602-277-5827. We've also got texting at 411-923. We're going to go with Jay in Santan Valley on his 08 Honda Odyssey. What can we help you with, Jay?
Well, I was wondering about timing belt replacement. I've got 67,000 on it. I'm old enough that I don't hot rod much anymore. Just wondering when a reasonable time to change the timing belt, and precisely what would I need to change other than the belt.
Great question and topic of my newsletter.
Well, Jay, this is Matt, and I'm going to tell you on your Odyssey that I think you're just fine till 105,000 miles. And I'm going to make a couple of assumptions here. I want you to look at your owner's manual, and I think it says severe service. You might change it at 60,000 miles, maybe 90, but I think it's 105. Unfortunately, we can't remember all these owner manuals.
But there's a little caveat there,
There's a caveat there. Well, and not to pick on the dealer, but I will. It's not necessarily picking on, but I hear them telling people, a lot of customers, we get a call for a second opinion. Do I really need this? And if you look at the notes for severe service, it says if the car is consistently driven in temperatures above 115 degrees, or it's consistently driven in X condition or Y condition. And I argue that, well, we're consistently like that 20% out of the year or 25% out of the year. This isn't Saudi Arabia.
It's not even that much, because really I spent some time in the HVAC business. The actual time of day that you're in that kind of arena, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're not at 110 at 8 o'clock in the morning when you're driving to work.
Right.
So it's actually not all that often that we're in those ultimately hot conditions.
Right. So my answer to that is don't do it at 60,000 miles. Do it at 105 if that's the interval for normal service, and we're specifically talking about your Honda. 105,000 miles, and then when you do the timing belt, you want to do the other components. You want to do a timing belt component kit, if you will, and that's going to be a belt tensioner, and maybe an idler or two, the hydraulic tensioner for that timing belt, and the water pump. And the theory is we're going to go in there. This stuff has all lasted 105,000 miles. Therefore, your new belt should last 105,000 miles. However, those other components are very likely not to last 105,000 miles, and it's all the same labor, basically, to do that job. And it's just peace of mind. Like, for example, the water pump. We know the water pump is going to fail before your new timing belt will. Let's just do it now.
Well, and that's, I think, one of the tricky things for people when they're shopping. They know they need this timing belt. It's a big item. They've been around long enough where people know it's something that needs to happen. But you get in the phone book and you make a phone call. How much for your timing belt? It's this much. How much for your timing belt? Well, it's this much. One guy may price it to you a la carte, man. It's just a burrito by itself. That's all you get. And the next guy's, giving you all the fixins next to it. But do we want to price a la carte because it's a whole lot cheaper? But once your timing cover's off, they're going to say, oh, wow, that water pump, looks pretty bad. Some people that do replace them as early as 60 because of that severe service, they may not do the water pump at that time. I just have never seen a Honda Odyssey timing belt fail before 110,000 miles. It's just not happening.
Well, no, and if you take that theory, Dave, you take it and say you do just the belt at 60,000 miles. Now, logically saying the next time it's due is 120,000 miles. So now we're stretching these other components 15,000 miles past where they want it to be in the first place. If you were going to do it early and you want to be proactive and in a peace of mind, I would say maybe do it at 90,000. But quite honestly, I think you're good at 105. Now, I was surprised the other day looking up a Hyundai or a Kia, I don't remember which exact one, and couldn't find where the timing belt was. 37,500 miles on that car.
That was a recommended interval for that thing?
Yes. Now, on that car, the first time around at 37,500, I'm not doing all the other stuff.
Yeah, water pumps
those
and
components are just fine. So when we're talking to you, at least at my shop, we're talking to you about your car, not vague generalities like we are here. But again, my recommendations are specific to that Honda. It matters. It's not all timing belts are created equal, nor are cars.
Yeah, is it a V6? Is it a 4-cylinder? Those belts are routed differently, different lengths, that type of thing. So all those play into the manufacturer's recommendation. Thanks so much for the call, Jay. We're going to go with Leonard in Phoenix on a 2004 Ford F150. What can we help you with, Leonard?
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Hey, as of last week, I was on my way to Prescott, and my check fuel cap light came on while the printout covers up my odometer. And so I stopped, pull it off, look at it. Yeah, it looks like it's there. Put it back on. It's a locking cap. Drove around, same thing. Today I pulled it off, put on the original cap that's non-locking, and it's still on. Is there like a reset button, or does it take drivability of so many hours or miles or keystrokes to make it work? Or go off or reset?
And it was just in the light that was just a check gas cap. It didn't have anything else about check engine light or anything like that, right?
Correct. It's just a little 2-layer readout that should be my odometer with my compass, but it just says check fuel cap. It shows open door, but when I close it, it says check fuel cap. Doesn't say anything about my mileage or nothing.
I am not familiar with on an F-150, Dave, whether or not there's a sensor or some kind of exciter in the original gas cap that would cause that light. I'm thinking it's a gross leak, so they just go.
Yeah, they go right for the gas cap. Hey, you left the gas cap off. And what that is, and gas cap is a common one. I have people come in all the time. They say, hey, my check engine light came on, but I'm familiar with it. My auto shop says it's a gas cap code. They're for me for transmission, but they're mentioning that gas cap code. There isn't generally a gas cap specific code, but in a couple cases there is, but in most cases there's not. But it's the evaporative system for the fuel that doesn't vent into the atmosphere that's seeing that there's an issue. So there's more to it.
And the gas caps were when OBD2 diagnostics came out in '96. And all the way into the early part of the 2000s, gas caps were very common. So a lot of people just chalk it up. It must be a gas cap. But, Leonard, to answer your question, I just don't know on that one. If you want to send us an email at bumpertobumperradio.com, we can try and do some research for you.
Well, when we come back, we've got Mike, and it looks like Clarkter, if I'm reading that right. So we're taking your phone calls and your text. You listen to Bumper Radio.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Yes, we realize this is a long name to remember, but most of our customers know us simply as ADS. ADS is a family-owned and operated, state-of-the-art, full-service automotive repair facility with an expert staff that has helped us earn the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation for the second straight year in a row. We are honored, humbled, and dedicated to providing the same level of service to you and your family. We will always strive to get it done right the first time so that you'll leave with a smile on your face after every repair or service. ADS is a bumper-to-bumper radio approved shop with a long name but a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard, ADS proudly serves Ahwatukee, Chandler, Tempe, Gilbert, and Southeast Phoenix. Stop by or check us out at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com today.
After 14 years in the States, mostly spent here in the Valley, I was getting bloody frustrated with the treatment I was receiving from dealerships on the maintenance and repairs of my vehicles. I finally reached out to a friend who told me I was crazy not to try Virginia Auto Service. Being a mom with a busy schedule, children, and work, I took my friend's advice and gave Virginia a try. What a refreshing difference. From the first step through their doors, their staff was accommodating and understanding. Robert explained in plain English what I needed to have done, but also why. They went out of their way to make sure that the experience was convenient, with door-to-door shuttle service by a lovely man named Bergie. Several years and a number of visits later, the experience is always the same. They tell me what is necessary right now and what is not. This is Victoria, and I don't know much about cars, but I do know that from boot to bonnet, Virginia Auto Service knows how to take care of their customers. Check them out online at virginiaautoservice.com.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Westline Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, RENEE Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio on this Independence Day weekend. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you with your car as the rules in cars are always changing. Things that worked 10 years ago, or they're like old information. They get, I would say, more advanced every year, and it's not a little bit of a change. They're changing a lot. You know, they're taking away CD players out of cars. You can't even buy a car with a CD player anymore. The other thing they're making you have is a backup camera. I know we got a few years yet, maybe 3-4 years before that happens, but technology has changed so much, you'd be crazy not to have a backup camera on your car. It's not like you get a camera on your cell phone. I mean, cameras are everywhere.
Dave, I have a backup camera on my truck, and I hate it.
Really?
I always feel like I'm going to back into something. I don't know. I've driven some others where they have the backup camera, but then it has the yellow and red bars.
That's what I need.
And when you turn the steering wheel, it turns, so it kind of directs where you're going. I'm inclined that if I use a backup camera, I'm more likely to run somebody over than if I just use my mirrors. They don't work well for me.
Well, the one thing we didn't get to earlier as far as flash flood goes is just tires. You know, that was the one thing that you wanted to make a point of, tires. Do we have good tires on the cars? You know, I like people buying tires in the spring, but if you got bad tires now, go get some tires. You don't have to wait till spring.
I like people to buy the tires when they need them.
Well, I know what I'm saying, but you know, in the life cycle, do you milk those tires out? Do you run on steel cords through monsoon season, or do you replace them in the spring? So when you get to monsoon season, you don't have to skid out and cause an accident before you decide I need tires.
And by the way, new tires don't make you get through the wash any easier either. You'll still be the guy on the hood of your car. So yeah, just make sure the tires are good. Any one of the bumper to bumper shops would be more than happy to do a quick check of your tires. S&S Tires, one of those shops, or anybody who's working on cars should be able to tell you if you have decent tires.
Well, we've got Elaine, Mike, David, and Carter. They spelled your name right for me, so I'm sorry to slaughter your name last time around. We are going to go with Carter. He's in Litchfield, and he's got a 1995 Jeep Grand Cherokee four-wheel drive. What can we help you with today, Carter?
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. The problem with the air conditioner, that I start off my car, takes about 15 seconds for it to kick in, and then it shows ERR, which I'm figuring is error, but it doesn't cool down. It shows 55, but I definitely know it's not 55 blowing through my AC.
What shows 55? You have a digital or automatic climate control, I'm assuming, on the Jeep?
It's got two large knobs, and on the right-hand side, it's got the looks like a digital display, but you can change it to, of course, cool or hot, and it's got an AC and the recirculation buttons below it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I've never seen an air conditioner go below 55. I mean, the lowest I've ever seen is 60, well, at least I think anyway. But if that's a automatic or a computer controlled climate control system, and if it says ERR, I'm sure that's just two letters short of an error because there is nowhere to put it. It's the control system is not able to control. So whether it's in a fail-safe mode because there's not enough refrigerant in it, said something about 15 seconds. That seems a little long before the AC engages. There's something going on. There's just no way that we could.
So if Carter was to go into an auto shop, what would he be looking for? Or what would he convey, or what could he expect to get his air condition back on board? And this is something everybody can listen for because it's that time of year we're getting our air condition fixed.
Well, air conditioning is difficult. A lot of times it's a two-step process. And then based on your descriptions, you still could have a multitude of different problems. You could have one problem. You could have another problem. You could have two problems. So let's just take this example. He comes into Virginia Auto Service, And I'm going to start asking him, what's going on with the air conditioner? It just says ERR. Was it cold before? Did it go from ice cold to then you just got back in the car and it didn't work well? So we're going to there's all kinds of questions. It's cool but not cold. That's a common problem. First thing we need to do is we need to have an air conditioning system that is capable of working. And by capable of working, it's got to have a belt. It's got to have a full charge. And by having a full charge, then we're going to assume it doesn't have leaks or it can substantially hold the refrigerant. So that's the first thing it has to have. If it has that and it still doesn't work, now we have an electrical or a control problem. We have to figure out why this air conditioner isn't being told to do isn't doing what it's being told to do, or why the system isn't telling it to do what we want it to do.
Of all these vehicles that come in your shop on a regular basis, how many of them are charge level issues? I mean, cars that are 3 to 5 years old come in your shop, charge level issues. In the old days, I remember my grandfather just shooting a can of Freon into not shooting it like a gun, but filling up the system in the driveway. And that doesn't really happen so much anymore because, A, the systems have changed. There's a lot less capacity than they used to take, and the charge level is so, it's finite as far as where it has to be. If you're a couple ounces over or a couple ounces under, it's not going to work right. So
the charge level is critical. You can, like you said, Dave, you can be off by a couple ounces, overcharged or undercharged, and affect system performance. What percentage? I'd say more than half of them are a low charge issue. We had a car in yesterday. Was it yesterday? Thursday at the shop, and she wanted to know how much an AC service was because her air conditioner didn't work. She was leaning towards she had an electrical problem. She was right, though. She ultimately ended up having a, quote, electrical problem, which was a control issue. But the other part that I had to explain to her was, like I said, we have to have a system capable of working before we can ask it to work. I can't go checking the AC controls if the car itself, the air conditioning system, is not capable of making cold air. Well, in her case, on her Audi, after she said her boyfriend checked it and her boyfriend's friend, who's a mechanic, and he's the best mechanic in the world and whatever.
Everyone knows that guy, by the way.
Right. Well, the car had 6 ounces of a 17-ounce charge, so it didn't even have the right charge. It's not capable of working. But we got it charged up. Guess what? It still didn't work because the control side wasn't capable of controlling. So AC can be very complicated.
Well, thanks so much for the call, Carter. We are going to go with Elaine, then Mike, then David, and we'll get to some of these texts, 602-277-5827. Go ahead, Elaine.
Thanks for taking the call. It's not a problem we think we might know, but we're doubtful. My daughter bought a Nissan Pathfinder. Really nice shaped car, runs beautifully. She went to the store the other day, and when she came out, went to start it, it made a noise. Almost, to me, it sounded like a whirring sound, metallic whirring sound. Mm-hmm. It was awful, but when you shift it into gear, it quiets right down and drives beautifully. And we're going to take it to the shop, but we just kind of had a sneaking suspicion. My son said he thinks it's a torque converter.
Did it happen just that one time, or is it happening on a regular basis?
It'll do it every time now. It happened the one time, and now if you start the motor and it's in park or, while it's still in park, it makes that sound. As soon as you shift into drive, it quiets right down and drives beautifully.
Well, typically it's the other way around when there's a torque converter issue. And what happens is when the car's in park or in neutral, the torque converter is doing absolutely nothing other than driving the pump of the transmission. So the torque converter is a connection between the engine and transmission. When you pull it into gear and you still have the tires stopped, it starts to do what we call stall the torque converter, and that's when all the load is put on the bearings in the torque converter. So in most cases, it's going to make noise when you're stalling the converter, so that means it's in gear and your foot's on the brakes, so you're not going anywhere in reverse or drive. Doesn't mean always. I've seen a couple that are a different situation where they will make noise in park or neutral, but it's not very common. But that type of noise, before you said torque converter, that was the first thing in my mind. That was what I would be looking for. But noisers are funny. They can fool you. So I wouldn't just jump to any conclusions. I would verify that with someone who knows transmissions and knows noises.
Yeah, I mean, you're in Glendale. One of the great bumper-to-bumper shops in Glendale is Dave's Car Care, 51st Avenue in Peoria. So if you're in the neighborhood there, Dave would, I'm sure, be happy to take a look at that for you, and I'm sure it can handle the problem.
All right, we're going to go with Mike in North Phoenix on a 2002 Toyota 4Runner. Go ahead, Mike. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. Thanks, Dave and Matt. Yeah, I have a turn signal problem. They both stopped working, left and right. I checked the fuse on the fuse box at the left, or on my left knee, and I also checked the flasher relay, which is located in that area. And I checked all the light bulbs. So, and everything seemed to be good. I actually did replace the flasher, but didn't do any good. And I put the other one in and had a friend test the new one I bought, and it tested as good. So I'm kind of at a loss. I don't know if it's possibly a ground problem or how I'd go about what's my next step.
When you hit the brakes, are the brake lights working?
They do.
Okay. Silence, Dave.
Silence.
Well, if you want to go anywhere and you don't know where you're going, you need a map. And that map is a wiring diagram in your case. You need to have a wiring diagram for your car. If this is something you're going to tackle yourself, you need to have a wiring diagram, and you need to know all the roads and which way they travel, which direction, and that's the wiring. You need to know where a ground is supposed to be, and what happens when you push a relay or when that flasher gets power to it or when you lift the switch. You need to be able to look at the diagram and understand what the little symbols mean in the switches. You need to know this is an exit, this is an on-ramp, and if you know that and you have that diagram, you can start going through and tracing these things down. I'd even guess it could be a hazard switch. I think on some of these, that all the controls for that are starting to go through just the hazard button on the dash. That could be the problem. Some cars, and I'm not sure on the 4Runner, have multiple flashers. Some of them do just the left side lights, and then the others do the hazard and the right side lights.
We gotta see what's there and start going down the map and seeing, yes, this test's good. It's not that. We know we've got good ground here. We know this is good. And really, he's already done some of the things that should have been done, right? Checking the fuse, checking the flasher, checking the bulbs themselves. Those are some things right off the bat that you should be checking. So he's going the right direction. But now that it's not some of the easier, more obvious stuff, we do got to get in the map and see what component could be taking this out. So thanks so much for the call. We talked earlier about musty air-conditioned smell and having that mustiness. How do you get rid of that, Matt? How do you get rid of that musty smell in the car, the one that,
Funny you should ask, Dave. We at my shop I've started doing a new program. We use, and I found this technology when we had a fire at the shop 10 years ago. It's been a long time. When we had all this smoke damage stuff, there was nothing wrong with it. We took it over to a place like Service Central or the cleanup guys you see the commercials for, and they had this room with these machines in it, and it was sterile and it smelled weird. It smelled so clean, and they put all of our stuff in there. Well, what they did is they put our stuff in there in a room that is full of ozone generators. And that ozone, I don't know all the exact science, but basically the ozone molecules will go split the molecules of the molecules that's causing the odor, and then when they split, they died. So that's the mold, the spores, the this, the that, the whatever. So what we're doing is we have this equipment that is an ozone generator, like in that room, but we put it in your car. And that gets rid of stink. And then we follow that. After that ozone treatment, we then follow that with another system. It's called mist. And it's some micro technology, this, that, and the other. And however it works, it looks like somebody put dry ice in your car. The whole interior of the car is fogged. We're basically setting off the roach bomb inside your car, but it's for the bacteria. So we're killing the bacteria in the car. And then when we're done, hopefully it has a light lemon scent to it. Sometimes the ozone gives it a little pungent, stale, or not stale, but sterile odor. And it just,
I didn't know clean smelled really bad.
Sometimes it does. I spilled refined beans in my car. The whole thing tipped over. It was a mess. That car stunk. We got it cleaned up, ran that deal in there for a couple hours. You'd never know the difference now.
When we come back, we've got Bob and David on the line and some texts we're going to get to. You're listening to Bumper Radio.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
We're celebrating, and for good reason. Yep, 2014 marks the 20th anniversary of Kaiko Roofing here in the Valley, and they're proud and humbled to have been trusted for all these years by you, their loyal customers. Year after year, Kaiko has over 50% of their business coming from referrals or repeat customers, and 98% of the customers continue to say they would refer Kaiko to a friend or family member. For that loyalty and trust, we all want to say thank you. Kaiko is proud to install peace of mind by using only the finest materials with their most skilled workers, all backed by the industry's best owner's pride guarantee. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, call Kaiko for a free checkup and financing options, 602-944-4600, or go to KaikoRoofing.com. They're crazy about quality.
Hi. This is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper-to-Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com.
You're listening to Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen, along with my friend, I'll call him today, Dave Riccio. And we're today. Still, we got some time left. We can work on that, Dave. But again, every Saturday from 11 to noon, Dave and I are here to help you with your car on Bumper to Bumper Radio. And talking about getting ready for the monsoons this week, the rain and the humidity, the part that I hate is here. And be careful driving in the haboobs and the dust storms and stay out of the washes, right, Dave?
Nothing like getting in your car and driving home after work and having a sweaty back and then getting home, man. I just got to jump in the pool to get a little rinse going from the swampy feeling. I guess that's normal in other parts of the country, but I don't do so well with humidity. I mean, you know, in some parts of the country, I think you get out of the shower and then you dry off, but you're not dry. You just stay wet your entire life.
Been there, done that. I am not interested. We've got several text message questions. And, Dave, one of these I think you're probably going to have an answer for. I have a 2009 Toyota Corolla. It has a sticker on the dipstick for the transmission that says never change the fluid. When should I do a flush? It has 70,000 miles. Dave?
You know, there isn't any broad stroke brush I can say with all transmissions across. But what I do know is that when we rebuild these transmissions, the failure point is oftentimes valve bodies where the valve body has failed because the dissolved solids in the fluid have made like little sandpaper, and it's worn out the valve bodies and it wears out the solenoids. The solenoids are electronic. They have little copper coils in them, and they're like little magnets, so they draw all the junk that's floating around in the transmission into them. So I am a big proponent of servicing your transmission every 2 to 3 years. And I've seen cars where right there on the sticker on the pan it says lifetime fill. And I'm going to give you the example of the Cadillac and the BMW. On the Cadillac, same transmission, same, actual maker of the transmission, it says every 50,000 miles. On the BMW right next to it, it says lifetime fill. They're the same exact transmission. How is one lifetime fill and one service every 50,000 miles? So I don't know that these manufacturers are shooting us straight when they say don't service the transmission. They have taken the dipsticks away on a lot of cars, and people say, well, there's no dipstick. It's got to be a sealed unit. It still needs transmission fluid. It's worked the same way it always has worked. Nothing has changed. The oil has gotten better, and the frequency has gone down of needing to service it, but it still needs to be serviced. So send me an email at bumper-to-bumperradio.com. I'll look up the exact model of the transmission and give you a better recommendation than the broad stroke.
Well, Dave, it brings up an interesting point. As I was looking through some service manuals, owner's manuals on cars, when do certain things need to be done? And I forget the make of car. It doesn't matter, but I think it was a Honda. Well, in California, this particular maintenance didn't need to be done, but everywhere else it did. Well, what is different about California? They've got all the climates of the whole United States. They've got the desert, they've got the snow, they've got the seasons, they've got the moisture. You can find it in California. What the heck does California got to do with a darn thing? Nothing. It's got nothing to do with, except for the California government has said that certain things have to last certain times. So guess what? If you're Honda or your Toyota or your Chevy, if the car is sold in California, it doesn't need this. Come on, give me a break.
It's like California emissions. You're in a car, well, this one's got California emissions on it. Well, I was never crazy about the California emissions because you just went down to the local shop. I mean, they weren't an entity that maybe you could grease the guy and you could get through emissions because everybody could do it. So I always liked the control of maybe the government babysitting the emissions versus having everybody and their brother. So is that any better, California emissions?
Well, I don't know. No, I mean, I think they have better, catalytic converters. Or in some cases in the 80s, 90s, you'd find a bunch of stuff on cars that you didn't want. So if you bought a sports car, a performance car, you'd be darned if you were going to buy it in California. You don't want one that has a sticker that said made to California specs.
Well, the point is there's no real standards on this. So you're saying you're selling the car in California. We have different maintenance for it over there than we do in Arizona, just simply to fit a criteria from the government, but it's really got nothing to do with making your car last.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with nothing. It really doesn't. So, we talked about the cost of ownership, and that's one of the things that the manufacturers want to do. They want to have a low cost of ownership. That's a feather in their cap to have that low cost of ownership. And if they can tell you don't need to do certain things or stretch things out for that first 4 years of cost of ownership, well, they're going to get that trophy.
Well, I got a text here, and this is a classic from an auto shop. This gentleman's got a 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee. He has a rattling sound in the left portion of the dash. Sounds like marbles in a popcorn machine. That gives me a good picture in my mind. What might it be? And it would be expensive to repair. I have taken it to the shop, and they said, don't worry about it. Bring it back if it gets louder. I hate when people tell me not to worry about something. Oh, don't worry about that.
Hey, don't worry about that, right? It'll be all right.
I personally hate rattles, and is it going to be expensive to repair? It can be. One time I had somebody complaining about a rattle in their dash, and it just happened to be a 5/8 socket that was turning over and over again every time we went around corners. So you never know how simple it might be. But find somebody who wants to chase that down, start taking off little pieces and sections of the dashboard to really look for the noise. But, it could be if you had a wiggle back there on the back of the dashboard and you had to remove the dashboard, where shops get nervous about chasing that is that I may very well find the noise, but by taking the dashboard out and putting it back in, I might create two more. So that's what I'm thinking.
And on what year was that Jeep again?
2004.
Okay, so it's not that old, but the plastic parts start to get brittle and break, and it's not always the road we want to go down, maybe. But somebody can find that if you're willing to participate. And usually that's
right.
Rattles are a couple days work usually, and you got to willing to participate in leaving your car, and also the expense to find it, or turn up the radio a little bit.
Right. Yeah. No. I hate rattles, but what's your pain threshold as far as cost and what you want to do? We got a couple on the line that we're going to get to after the show, Bob and David, and phones are actually pretty busy for a holiday weekend. So
one thing that we see on the news lately, and we haven't talked about it much here, and it is the time of year to talk about it, is leaving your kids and your pets in the car. It is not a good time of the year ever to do it. But especially this time of year. We see on Facebook the videos, you see them on the news, people finding dogs, unfortunately the death of children. So if you've got the young kids, please do something to remind yourself that they're in the back seat still. Put your purse in the back seat, or your wallet, or your cell phone. And don't leave the dogs in there either. The cars get to 145 degrees in no time inside.
Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Independence Day weekend. Find us at bumpertobumperradio.com. We'll see you next week.
Want to make your summer really cool this year? It's easy with the Bunker to Bunker Summer Stay and Play Series, the best golf staycation values in Arizona. Our next tour stop in July is once again an incredible value at the spectacular JW Marriott Camelback Inn Resort and Spa and the luxurious all-new Ambiente course at Camelback Golf Club in Scottsdale. Be our guest for the ultimate in-town luxury golf staycation getaway at an incredible value. The popular Bunker to Bunker two-person scramble tournament is on Saturday, July 26th, and is just $79, which includes lunch, awards, prizes, and a big raffle. You even receive a free bounce-back coupon for a second round of golf. Better yet, bring the better half or the whole family and spend the entire weekend with the special Bunkerville stay and play rates for just $99 per night at the legendary Camelback Inn. Offer good Thursday, July 24th through Monday the 28th when you play in our tournament. For your $99 special code and tourney registration details, go to bunkergolf.com. Space is limited, so register today.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
We're the car guys from the Bumper to Bumper radio show, heard right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR every Saturday from 11 to noon.
Bumper to Bumper Radio, it's just like your favorite warm and comfy blanket for all your automotive needs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dave. And we're here not just on Saturdays, but 24/7 at bumpertobumperradio.com for all the very best repair and service shops in Phoenix.
Yep, right advice, products, and partners are all at bumpertobumperradio.com.